Welcome to Boys and Brunch. This is the show where we expose everything going down on the timeline. And we've got some great topics yet again today. We're going to talk about Lil Nas X's pregnancy pics. And we're going to move into Patty Jenkins slamming streaming movies. And then we're moving back into, we're going to talk about DaBaby yet again for his second apology. And then, well, I guess I'm counting that right. I don't know. I guess y'all will correct me if I'm wrong. And then our final topic will be like never choosing to never give flowers to your date ever again. There's a whole tweet and story behind that, so we'll get to that. But right now, I am Jarrod D, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Khalid. How are you, sir?
Hanging in there, just I don't know. I'm looking forward to the fall season.
Okay, okay. What's
Yeah.
going on in the fall?
I always feel like, new season, new vibe, new opportunities. I'm all about that change of season stuff, new
Got
intentions
you.
that you put out there.
Okay, so what have you been up to lately, and what are you drinking today?
I just have tea, darling, Sundays I'm not usually one to wake up early on Sundays. So, I always ease my way into Sundays.
Okay, okay.
I'm just having some tea,
Got
warm
you,
up.
got you. We were talking about Hurricane Ida before we went live. How did that fare for you?
Well, my basement got flooded. The water just came from the ground up. So it was coming from the tub, it was coming from the toilet, from the
Eesh.
sink, and it was just like a lot. And like quickly, it took hours to get all that, scoop up all that water out. My landlord and I, we were like hours just getting it out, and then the cleanup afterwards. It took several hours. So it was an overnight thing.
Ugh, awful. Well, sorry you went through that.
Some
Um,
people had it way worse. There was
oh
no
yeah.
no damage. Thank God, no crazy damage. But I was quick because I saw like what's happening. I said, "Oh my God, let me get my stuff that was on the ground. Put it up." And yeah, so I was quick. But I
Yeah.
was there at the moment when I saw that it was happening. I was like, "Oh, okay, let's get on it now."
Got you. Okay. Mama Shay, hello. Why don't you give us a quick update and let us know what you're drinking as well, and let us know, how did you do with the craziness with the hurricane that passed? I guess it passed through our area. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, so I am drinking. This is it's zero sugar, but it's a sparkling ice, cherry vanilla with caffeine, and I just dropped a little bit of amaretto in there.
Okay.
Oh,
So got a little wake up juice going on. um as far as Ida, like I slept through most of it. There was definitely a whole lot of flooding in and around my area, but work sent all of us home at like 3. And they're like,
Okay.
no, we don't want you to get stuck here because basically all the roads out from my job have a deep dip. Like there's like
Mm,
cut out. So my little tutu would have been floating. So they were like, you could leave. And I was like, all right, bye.
yeah. Well, that's good. You got out of there. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, just I didn't really have to do. It was just we got the tornado warning. It was funny because I remember we had a tornado warning months ago, and my family was laughing at me for going down into the basement like it said, and then this time everybody was in the basement, I guess, because they knew it was like an actual thing. But I'm always on top of that type of stuff, so I'm always kind of paranoid and a very like safety, you know. Um, but I did do a wine tasting yesterday, and it was a lot of fun.
okay.
But that is exactly why I am drinking sparkling water today, because I'm not trying to go overboard.
Mhm.
Had a lot of fun yesterday, but I'm not trying to do it again today. Well, I'm trying to have fun, but not get crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, Mama Shay, real quick, like we always forget to start the show because I know you usually I want you to like pull an oracle card for us and just let us know what the energy is gonna be. I usually do it at the end of the show by accident. So now let's actually do it like we planned. What card did you pull for us today?
So today we have a card that says listening for truth.
Listening for
And
truth.
Miss Ma'am is up there. Just, listening to a little ocean shell thingy. But listening for truth. So this, especially on a show where we're all commenting and, we all obviously have different opinions or even the same opinions, but like, are we listening to argue or are we listening for the actual truth of what's going on? And so I think it's about, setting those intentions on how you're listening. Are you going into it to prove your point? Or are you going into it to arrive at a specific truth that everyone can actually deal with?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as as somebody who is putting on a show and trying to make it interesting, I'm listening for drama. Maximum drama. I'm just kidding. Well, only kidding a little bit. But all right. So we've talked enough amongst ourselves. Let's jump into these topics. We're going to talk about Lil Nas X and these pregnancy pics. Let me share the screen and just show you, if you hadn't already seen these pictures. Let's put this up on the screen. So this is Lil Nas X, his pregnancy announcement in People magazine. Now, this was really just to announce the arrival of Montero, his debut, or I don't know if it's not his debut album, but his next album. So what did you guys think about the pictures and what he's doing here? And what's the? I see you shaking your head, Khalid. Okay, you're not a fan. Not a fan.
As I said in one of the last episodes, we talked about, talent, artists, and gimmick. Once again, this is another gimmick. All he does is gimmicks. It's not about the music. And then what bothers me about him, I mean, I stopped being a fan of his a while ago because I saw the direction where he was going into. And that's just something that on a personal and moral and spiritual issue, I don't support. But
okay, so wait, what do you mean by that? Like,
me.
was it the satanic thing with the video? Is that what you're talking about?
It was that, and then even right before that, I saw then just pressings of what he was trying to do, where before it was just about his music, and then I started saying, okay, he's doing all these publicity stunts and gimmicks, and now this is just another gimmick to just get attention. It's not about the music. And then what bothers me is it's like you put out stuff and do things that are controversial, and then you get upset when people criticize it, and then you want to then come back at them. That's pure gaslighting. And I'm just like, I don't support that. It's just a gimmick after gimmick. Your talent, your music should be the gimmick. Okay. All this is just all extra stuff.
See, I feel like I'm on the complete opposite side of what you're saying right now. I don't think, I mean, I think he's definitely very talented, and I think, this is marketing, I feel like it's, we talk about gimmicks. I mean, like, it's not a gimmick if, I feel like it's not a gimmick if it like works to further, if it works to further your, album sales, in this case, is what his goal is. And to kind of like be, stay on top, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't really get gimmick from him. And honestly, I really kind of like what he's doing. I think he's constantly staying on the minds of people, and he's just like, he's riling a lot of people up, but it's like getting us to like have these conversations about why y'all feel so pressed, with this, like, and that's just what I see. But
I just wonder how long, it's sad that if an artist feels that that's what he has to do in order to get attention for his music, then we're talking about him because of what he's doing, not about his music. His music is now, secondary, and that's really sad. And then, if you look, music, careers of great artists. Historically, they don't do that. If we want longevity, I guess only time will tell to see the longevity of his career. And then if he feels like he has to, keep doing this. Perfect example, Lady Gaga, when she first came out, she was doing a whole bunch of stunts and gimmicks. And you know what? She got tired of that. And then she was just like, you know what? I'm going to focus on my talent. She switched up her music, started doing movies, changed her performance completely. Now she's doing another movie. Because she knew and realized, I can't keep up with this that long. At the end of the day, my talent, that should be the forefront. And she changed her style and career around. So I'm just wondering the longevity of this.
Lady Gaga is still doing the crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Not as much as before, though. She switched it up.
She switched it up. All right, Mama Shay, what do you have to say about this? We've been going back and forth a little bit, but what do you have to say?
I guess it's my turn to kind of be on both sides.
Okay.
So, number one, like my initial thing is just like give him the black boy joy. He's the age of basically my eldest, and I'm like, be free, do all the things, experience life, be funny, do whatever you want. You have the money to do it, child, go have fun. And we get to go along for the ride. So to me, it's not necessarily gimmick. Like we're literally watching him grow up. He started very early on. So of course he's going to have changes and trying to figure out himself and like let him celebrate exactly who he is and figure that out and root him on along the way. As far as it being gimmicky, I mean, it is releasing his album. It's specifically for music. Is he getting attention that way? Of course, but we've seen it ridiculously. Nicki Minaj has had her like whole anti-Catholic thing, whatever was going on.
That was horrible.
Gaga has had her meat dress. We've seen hair changes. We've seen just a multitude of things. So I think a lot of times we forget that artists are people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like express yourself, and he's like I said, he's young, he's trying to figure out who himself is. So unfortunately / fortunately, he has to do it in front of the world because that's just where he's at.
So my thing about like him trying to find himself, I feel like in order to do what he's doing, I feel like he knows himself. I feel like
he knows what he's doing. He knows what Bush is.
I mean, he knows what he's doing, but that's not necessarily what we're saying. But it's more like I don't feel like he's on this journey to find himself. To be quite honest, I feel like he knows himself, and I feel like he's just got the confidence to kind of put himself out there unapologetically, and that's kind of what I'm feeling. I don't feel like. I know at one point, I guess you could make that argument that he's still like, on some level, because he wasn't out when he originally came out with like Old Town Road, so there has been a little bit of a transformation, but if I wasn't confident in myself, I would not be doing, pregnancy pictures or, these, I say crazy, but like in a good way, these crazy videos. So I don't know, that's just kind of where I'm coming from, but I feel like I applaud him. I just every time he does something new, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this man just stays on everybody's minds. I just think he's just, what'd you say?
So specifically boozies.
Yes. And speaking of
that man waking up talking about genitalia
oh goodness,
at like 5 a.m.
Right. So we've got a couple people who have responded to these most recent pictures. So there was the comedian Donnell Rawlings who posted, I believe, on Instagram. He said, "I'm with freedom of whatever, but at this point, Lil Nas is effing with the minds of kids. What are your thoughts? How do I explain this shit to my son?"
I knew parents were gonna say that. Yeah, I only followed the story because I had to for this show, because I'm not a fan of him. I don't care to follow what he's doing, but I said, you know what, for homework and research, I have to, follow this. And then I was talking to my mom about it, and in our family, they're just like, this is what agenda is he pushing? And then this is like, for some people, especially parents, it's confusing to be like, well, how do we explain this to our kids, you know? And then also another friend of mine brought up a good point, which is like, well, how is this helping, you know, the LGBTQ community, where, you know, straight people to look at us in a more, I guess, normal or positive light, and not look at us like we're, you know, perverted or trying to push some sort of perverted, you know, agenda. So it's interesting that I'm sure there's going to be different sides to the spectrum of reactions to this. And obviously that's why, you know, he put it out. He knew there were going to be two completely extreme sides. I don't think there's a middle ground for this.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, and I think, I don't know. I think like the purpose of it is, you know, some people could make the argument that this is just further alienating, you know, LGBTQ people. But I feel like when you put it out there, you force people to deal with it, and it only makes it better for all of us in the long run. Personally, that's just kind of how I think. You know, instead of, you know, kind of staying within the confines of these societal rules that we have, and you know, we're here, you know, and we're very different, and I think that's okay, and I think it's okay for people to see that. Yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of where I am.
I don't know, man, pregnant. I don't know about that.
What is there to explain, I guess, is my thing. What is hard to explain?
I guess in the sense to explain to kids from what I've been seeing in reactions to people, and then just speaking to close family and friends, is to explain, well, to kids is like, oh, you know, a man being pregnant, you know. I think that's that whole thing of explaining that aspect. I get it. Like I said, I don't think with this there's no middle ground. It's either yes or no with this. It's, yeah.
Trans men get pregnant every day.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's not trans. And then even that, with that argument, you know, people are gonna say, well, a trans man is not really, you know, woman. So it's a whole, yeah.
But he's not pretending to be a woman either.
I'm sorry.
He's not pretending to be a woman, and on top of it, he's birthing his album. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like parents are extremely unimaginative and just don't know how to talk to their children if they don't understand how to be like, he's birthing his idea. He toiled over this. He created it just like I created you in my stomach, or, you know, whoever's stomach. That's
you know, kids won't understand that if they're just looking at a picture, you know, they won't understand it. So I get on a parent side, you know, they're coming from, because look, several of my friends, you know, they have kids, and like I said, I've spoken to them about this, and you know, a lot of them are pissed. I get it. I don't have a child myself, so I can't, you know, fully explain it or under, you know, be in that feeling of understanding. But I get where they're coming from. This is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I still just don't get it, but that's just. You know, I've always kind of had a different style of parenting anyway, but I just don't understand.
Yeah,
I guess what the difficulty is.
Yeah. Well, but you also have, you know, Boozy Badass, who I guess is now like the Joker to Nas's Batman. I mean, like, even his name is very like super villain, Boozy Badass. Like, okay, I'm sorry, but he responded to this saying, Nas X, what the F, you just don't stop. I think he's going to turn around and suck one of his background dancers D on national TV.
That probably would be next. Who knows? He's always pushing buttons. What else is he gonna do? I'm sure this is not gonna be the end. He'll do something else, something shocking, because that's just.
But he's not gonna. I mean, like, he's not gonna do that. Now we know.
Well,
we know
we
he's
didn't
not
think
gonna.
he was gonna do a couple of things that he did. So I just think we just have to wait and see. We don't know. We can't predict the future. It's just like, what's he gonna do next? Let's see.
Yeah, but are you like defending Boozy Badass right now? Are you like defending what he's saying?
No, I'm just like, I don't know if Lil Nas is gonna do that, but I get in this sense, it's just like, what else are you gonna do? What's the next shock value thing that you're gonna do? and only time will tell. We'll see.
Go ahead, Mom Shay.
The latest shock value thing that Boozy has done was reveal he's 38 and not 58 with that mug. So, everyone has their own gimmicks and what have you. But like Boozy is just, if you don't like it, so don't look. Don't show your kids. Don't expose them to this. He does not make nursery rhymes. This man does not make children's music. So if you are going to allow your children to be exposed to it, then...
Well, he did say, I do remember Lil Nas X did say that he was making, well, this was back in like his first album. Maybe not, he's not saying it now, but I do remember he said more than once that he was making music for the kids. He did say that several times.
Maybe he meant the kids.
Well, no, he specifically, for the children. He made that very clear. And then he came out with that book, C is for Country, which is a really cute book out that I actually read. That was nice.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I think
it is hard because parents can't control 24/7 what their kids are watching, listening to. It's hard.
Little they can. I certainly did. My kids didn't see anything I didn't want them to see, at least until they were in school.
Yeah. I mean, well, my thing is, I mean, I guess just to put a stamp on my whole thing is just like, as an artist, I feel like your role is to kind of push the buttons and push boundaries a little bit and try to get a conversation started or get people talking. It's not just about your talent. It's also about a message usually with art. So, I personally, I applaud him. I know we may feel differently on this topic, but we do have, another topic to jump into. But before we do, I did want to touch on Nene Leakes. I don't know if you guys heard, but Nene Leakes' husband, Greg Leakes, has passed away this past week. So, we've talked about Nene and the Housewives on here plenty of times. So, we're just sending our condolences to Nene and her family. I'm curious, Khalid, I feel like because when we spoke about this, at least in our DMs, it seemed like you had some other things to maybe bring up or talk about regarding Nene. And I was just curious what those thoughts were.
It was really surprising that it came out of nowhere. But then I can't help but think about, she left, allegedly she left the Housewives because she wasn't getting along with people. And I know, we all know, that Nene has had I guess a reputation that is very mixed. It's you either love her or you hate her. And I feel that she's had more problems with people than not, especially, behind the scenes as well. And then when this happened, I wasn't really a fan of Nene before, but then I felt this one, for her, because this was the love of her life. And then I'm wondering at the same time, feeling bad for her because a lot of people don't like her, that they probably was like, hey, good for you. That's what you get. That's karma. You had all you had all these problems with people, and this is what you get. So now you're seeing a loved one, pass away. So I felt for her.
Yeah.
And just wondering what she's gonna do now. I haven't heard much about Nene, what she's doing and what she's gonna do next, and just the whole healing and recovery process for her.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we're all on the same page. We're feeling for her. I know she's still doing the club. I think it's the Lanithia Lounge or something. So yeah, she's still got stuff going for her. So all the best. But we're gonna jump into this next topic. Patty Jenkins, who spoke about streaming movies. Now let me read what she said here. So she is the director. She's known as the director for doing Wonder Woman. And she said, this is from an article on Screen Rant, and I believe she was at CinemaCon, and she was on a panel discussing the future of cinema, and she said this about streaming movies. Like, aren't you seeing it? All of the films that streaming services are putting out, I'm sorry, they look like fake movies to me. I don't hear about them. I don't read about them. It's not working as a model for establishing legendary greatness. So, what do you guys think about that sentiment? Mama Shay, why don't we start with you? Do you think that that's a true statement?
First of all, her little movie was funky. Like, let's just start there.
Which one?
Wonder Woman 84.
Okay. Did you see
The trailer was the best part.
Okay.
I was extremely disappointed that the movie did not live up to that hype at all. In of course, my opinion. So the fact that she even thought she had the authority to speak on it, like, your little movie was never going to be a legend status anyway. Wonder Woman is a legendary status. You, however, are not. Additionally, I feel like this has a little bit to tie into, like, with the contracts. And I know we discussed before with the Black Widow movie and Scarlett Johansson and, you know, the lawsuits and whatnot that were going on because it released in the theaters and then she only had box office cuts and not streaming cuts and all, like, money wise and all of that. So I think it comes from a little bit of a place of hurt because they're not getting that box office money and their contracts probably still, because since it was so long ago, are not including the streaming residuals. So I think that is part of it. But I also think it always depends on who's in your little microcosm of the world. My people still talk about plenty of movies. We still refer movies to each other. I have a movie club that I do every Saturday night. So that's great to me. I still talk about movies. You know, I don't think it... I think it does, you know, the hype of going to the movie is always different than, like, sitting at home and watching it. But you have to look at what's going on in the world. Nobody is going to risk their life to go see a movie, baby. Just put it out and hope for the best.
What do you think, Khalid? Do you think that, well, let's start with the general thoughts, and I'll get more specific as we go. We'll see where this goes.
Okay, well, I get a little bit where she's talking about two things that come up to mind. When movies, they come out, you know, on a streaming platform, I noticed that, okay, it gets hyped for like a very small amount of time. And then afterwards, it just kind of fades. And then, like, because, you know, it's like constant, you know, content keeps coming out. So it's like, okay, this 1 week, you know, you have all this, like, you know, hype, and then now you have like 4 other movies that are coming out on the streaming platform, and then nobody really talks about that one. So it fades quickly, whereas the model of, like, you know, having the movies in the movie theaters and is lasting in the box office for a while, there seems to be more of a long-lasting impact and conversations. And so I get in the sense of, like, legendary status, because even like a movie that came out, you know, a month ago, you know, people are not really talking it as much because now they're talking about another movie that just came out. So it's just like, just the limelight of it, you know, fades, and, you know, it's not legendary status.
Let me just, I don't know, let me just challenge that a little bit, because I feel like even now with movies that are coming out in the theaters, you hear about them like 1 week and then nobody talks about them the next week just because of the times that we're in, you know, with, I mean, so I don't see it being any different, you know, as far as the conversation of films. As far as establishing legendary greatness, I feel like if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. I just, like, you know, that's just how, you know, I'm one of those people who really does not subscribe to the idea that I need to be in a movie theater in order to watch this film.
I totally agree, because there's been many times I've gone to the movie theaters where I'm just like, I feel like I wasted money, you know, and then I get upset. Whereas streaming, the beauty of streaming, it's just like I can try to watch it, you know, 30, 40 minutes. And if I'm not feeling it, I just stop watching it. The issue is, though, I feel like I've noticed that a lot of movies that are, not all, but a lot of them on streaming platforms, I'm just like, I feel like this is like the new straight to DVD, movie. Where it's like it wasn't good enough at that time, to be released in the theater. So we'll just put it out on streaming. Where it's like the quality is not the best, and I get bored, and I find myself, starting and stopping, watching movies on a more frequent basis. I'm just like, this isn't really that good. Okay, let's see what else I can watch.
I mean, there have been some big ones that have come out that leave me feeling the same way. List any of the Tyler Perrys that came out in theaters. And they had all the promotion in the world, but if it's not good, it's not good. Netflix, I love that Netflix, even though I understand like what you're saying quality wise and such, but Netflix gives indie films such an opportunity to be on a large platform. They're never going to, or rarely, let me not say never, but very rarely are they going to come out in a theater. So they're giving them the opportunity to be like, I don't know, that's Disney, but Netflix has plenty of the theatrical releases, from the past that everyone loves and their favorites, and they put them up there. But now you have this indie artist who would not have had a chance to be anywhere near that range of audience right next to them as an option.
I totally agree. There's good and bad with the streamers. I think in general, even like you were talking about movies that are out in the movie theaters, I just feel like because I'm an actor, so I'm in that whole world. Productions, there's pressure that they have to come out with a certain amount of content per year to make up their quota. So it's just like, okay, the writing may not be the best. I can't tell you how many things I booked or auditioned for. I'm like, this writing freaking sucks. I mean, terrible. But then there's some, indie films that I've done or auditioned for. I'm like, the writing is amazing, absolutely amazing. So, but it's just like productions, they're out of pressure. It's like, we got to come up with this content. It may not be the best, but we'll just have these stars, these big stars attached to it. As long as we make the money, who cares if the movie's good or not? We just want to make the money.
Yeah, my whole thing is like, I just feel like there are horrible movies that come out in theaters too.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's just like,
so
they don't care.
They greenlight a lot of craziness regardless. Personally, I'm not really agreeing with what Patty is saying here. I do think that it's an important platform, is definitely for indie films, but I also don't think it has devolved to the point of like an Amazon books. You know what I'm saying? Where you can just put, you can put a page out and sell it for, $200 if you want to. So it's not quite that crazy. There's still a lot of talent behind it, and people like this stuff and some people don't. I mean, it's just interesting because a lot of big movies that have been on Netflix, a lot of people like to everybody watches them, everybody enjoys them, and then 2 weeks later, everybody's talking about how bad it was. And I'm just like, okay, so what happened between now and then? I'm trying to I think Bird Box is like the example of that. Everybody hates Bird Box now. I'm like, okay, so what happened? Because
which one was Bird Box again?
That was with what's her name?
I always get them mixed up. It's not Sandra Bullock, right? It's the other one.
Yes.
Oh, is it her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is that the one that she can't, you can't see the things? That I liked it. I
enjoyed that, and I thought that was one of those. One of those big screen type of movies for sure.
Absolutely. By a shameless plug, one of the movies I did is called Milk Water. It's out on Netflix. I have a supporting role. Check it out. It's with Molly Bernard and Patrick Green and Robin De Jesus, and it's out. Check it out. You'll see me.
Okay. All right. I will definitely check that out, and I hope all of our viewers go and check that out as well. But we're going to move into our next topic. We're going to talk about DaBaby yet again. So the news this week is that DaBaby met with about 9 U.S. HIV organizations to apologize to them and here's a quote from Variety that we got from, I guess it was like I'm assuming this was some kind of like a press release from the event that took place between the organizations and the baby. So the quote is, during our meeting, the baby was genuinely engaged, apologized for the inaccurate and hurtful comments he made about people living with HIV, and received our personal stories and the truth about HIV and its impact on Black and LGBTQ communities with deep respect. They continue, we appreciate that he openly and eagerly participated in this forum of Black people living with HIV, which provided him an opportunity to learn and to receive accurate information. Mm-hmm. So where are you guys with DaBaby after this has taken place, after this news? Does this change anything for you? Khalid, why don't we start with you?
So I read the statement of like his initial quote, and I was just like, okay, he was trying to be slick because he did not specifically say, oh, LGBT have HIV. He said something about them, and then the next sentence was about, you know, HIV. So it's kind of like, because the sentences were so close together, two ideas together, then I can kind of see why people, you know, said, oh, so you're talking about this. But he knew, I think he caught himself in the moment that he knew that's what he wanted to say. But instead of flat out saying that, he said, okay, I'm gonna talk about LGBTQ in this one sentence, and then I'm gonna go into this other sentence about HIV to kind of save myself and cover myself that I'm talking about, you know, two different things. But the fact that they were so close together, it's just like, yeah, we knew what you meant. And then his delivery as well, his, I guess I'll just say, passionate delivery speaks for itself as well. I think this is a perfect example of like, you meant what you said, you said what you said, you meant what you said, and now because of what the backlash, now you want to backtrack and then, you know, do the apology tour. But I don't subscribe to that, you know, yeah, this is what I say, and then now I got backlash, now I'm apologizing, because I don't feel it's a sincere apology. I feel it's a forced apology.
Gotcha.
I'm like, I don't believe in any of that stuff.
My feeling when first seeing this headline that he had reached out, or the HIV organizations reached out to him. I don't know who reached out first, but when they got together, when I first saw the headline and I didn't actually read the article, I was like, okay, did he learn anything? Did he or did he just go there to apologize? And so, you know, reading this quote, it seemed, I mean, at least from the HIV organization standpoint, that he did learn something from this, and that, you know, the apology may, I don't know, you know, I can't tell whether it was genuine or not, but you know, and I'm not saying let's be pro DaBaby now at all. I'm not saying that at all, but there seems to have been some movement in a positive direction at this point. To where I'm just like, okay, let's see what happens in the future. But I'm still side-eyeing you like majorly. And that's just kind of where I am. But what do you think, Mama Shay?
So I'm gonna just use this analogy. When he said it, it was like the pistol is out and aimed, the safety is off. And after the apology, okay, it's in my holster, but I have not secured it. Like the safety is back on, but it's still within reach. You know, I do think the motive behind all of this, it was not genuine. He saw those, all of his performances getting pulled. He saw that cancel culture working in everyone's behalf but his. And I think his PR team was like, we got to do something. So get out there and act your butt off. I don't care if you're not sorry. Yeah. You get in there and you do some damage control. Yeah. So that's what I feel like it is now. That does not mean he cannot learn from the damage control. But, you know, pistol is still ready to like get him in the forehead. Because I do not doubt that he's going to come out with something else ridiculous, and then people are going to be like, but you just said, and they're going to act all shocked. And it's like, baby, just because something comes out your mouth doesn't mean anything. The actions have to follow up. Right. So that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the future holds. But I mean, his track record, I mean, DaBaby's always in some sort of mess. He has some sort of violent streak in him. There's always anger. If he's not beating up a fan or beating up somebody that works at the hotel or cursing somebody out, it's always one thing after another with him. Or they catch him, with guns. Or that time when he was they rented out a house at Airbnb. All his people showed up and then beat up the owner. And
I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah.
Always. That man has no peace. His spirit has no peace at all. It's not.
What's he gonna do next? His track record, it's not the best. I don't know if he will learn from this. I guess only time will tell, let's be hopeful, but I don't know, everything leading up to it.
Yeah. I mean, y'all are making good points. I mean, I think the most that he'll learn is just to not F with the LGBTQ community.
Right, like he's learned not to say it, and he's learned how to do damage control. But has he actually learned all the stuff that goes with it? Again, like Khalid said, only time will tell.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think with apologies, it's like, especially in cases like this, it's like it's really up to the individuals to whether they accept the apology or not. I think us on this panel are like no, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely there with you. Carefree Black Nerd is saying it is not genuine. He's not putting any action behind it. He's grown as hell and in entertainment. So yeah, and he also,
I like how he spells hell. I like that. I'm gonna use that. Yeah, because I don't like the word hell. I'm gonna use that. I'm taking that from you. That's brilliant. Yeah, because I'm not with that whole stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, you just threw me for a loop there. I was just like, wait, what? Okay, I was kind of figured out like why you were censoring it, but I got it's more of a religious thing for you. Got it. Okay. Okay, so we do have one more topic to talk about. And this is actually not necessarily a pop culture topic, but this was something that was brought up on Twitter, our favorite place for the mess. So I'll just read the tweet. At Donwin _ looks like it's _ like yours, Mama Shay. I took this boy on a date in 2019. I brought him flowers and everything. I ended up finding his Twitter a few weeks later, and he tweeted I was corny for bringing him flowers. I ain't brought a flower since. N-word could get a dandelion from me. Or he couldn't get a dandelion from me. So this one, I just thought it was interesting to bring up because I feel like those are those moments where, you do something and then you get smacked for it, and then that causes that person to be very closed off to the next person, and you're taking that to everybody else. And I'm like, I don't know. To me, it seems like one of those moments where I guess not bringing flowers is not necessarily punishing somebody, but
it's bitter behavior.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, so we got a bunch of bitter people walking around here. I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? Because that's just kind of how I feel. I'm just like, okay. On one hand, it was really screwed up of the person receiving the flowers to tweet something stupid like that.
Absolutely, poor class.
But at the same time, don't take that experience and then attribute it to somebody else. I don't know. That's just kind of how I'm feeling. Like, how do y'all feel about this?
I'm right there with you. If I want to be a romantic person, I'm going to be romantic to whoever will receive it. And that's just the way that's going to go. You don't receive it. I know not to do that with you anymore, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop being me. And if I want to give flowers, somebody getting flowers. So, it's just like, you're going to let somebody really change who you are. Because it seems like at his core, he was like, not just doing it to impress, but he enjoyed doing it. Why else, well, I don't know. I guess some people might do things that they don't like just to impress. But it seemed like he was hype about it. And then it hurt him. So there's some ego and there's some anger and all of that kind of involved in it. But baby, just go give flowers to somebody who will appreciate it. Like...
What do you think? What do you feel, Khalid? Because I agree there.
Yeah. Okay, two things. I couldn't help but think about the Barbra Streisand song, "You Don't Bring Me Flowers Anymore." Classic. I love Barbara Streisand, but I thought about that song. I'm not a flower type person, but that doesn't mean that if somebody gives me flowers, I'm not going to accept it, because it's the thought that counts. Wow, you thought of me, the actions. It was such a beautiful, moment. It's like, wow, like you did this for me. This symbolizes that how much you care of me and you love me, and you took the time out of your day to think about me and just bring me something that just shows how you feel about me. I will accept that, even though I'm not a flower person, but I will accept that because of the thought and the emotions that went behind that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Carefree Lackner is saying it as well. It's like, it's terrible. You live and you learn in dating, but don't change yourself because of hurt feelings.
Absolutely.
And I just feel like it's one of those things that happens so frequently, because something bad will happen once, and then people are walking around here carrying these feelings from some past bad behavior that has happened. Mama Shay.
So I have a flower related past bad happening, and I hang on to it. I'm not even gonna, So when I was married, I actually wound up getting some half dead flowers. It was obvious that like it was what was left. They looked like they had been trampled for Mother's Day. Like he either forgot about it or whatever. So I love flowers, but do not bring me roses.
Yeah.
I'm just like, roses are done. Learn my favorite flower, maybe my favorite flower color or something like that, to show some thought went into it, but miss me with the roses.
Wait, well, so what if somebody brought you roses and didn't know?
People have brought them to me since, and I've been, gracious and said thank you, because they were trying. Regardless, they don't know that story, so I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this N-word brought me roses. How dare he? Like, no, that's whatever. But like that whole like, oh my gosh, I'm never bringing anybody flowers ever again. And that's like me being like, you can't bring me roses or it's gonna set me off. Like, it's not a trigger. I've dealt with that part of it, but it's not my preference at all.
I like flowers. Well, I've never gotten flowers, but I feel like
honey, I'm so sorry.
Have you gotten flowers before?
Yes.
Oh, very nice. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where you guys find these people, but
I'm gonna have to court you so you can know how it feels. I'm gonna have to go ahead and send you some flowers.
Okay.
Yes.
The next time we hang out, I'm gonna show up with a bouquet and be like, it's the best bouquet.
The only thing about that is that I now have to take care of flowers after you give them to me, and that's probably not going to happen.
But you can. I mean, it's not that hard to take care of them. But even though if you don't take care of them, you just have it there, just look at it. They die. But just the thought that you got it, it's like, oh, and you see it and you think about the person. It's like that moment in time. It's like that stamp. It's like, okay.
I will bring you a flowering cactus. Not so much upkeep. So have I. I've killed so many succulents and stuff. My green thumb has gangrene.
Okay. Oh goodness.
I'll be like, I'm just gonna throw the flowers to you on the screen. Yeah.
Careful Back Nerd said, "Here's a flower for all three of y'all. Thank you so much." But anyway, that is all that we have today. So, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We are going to jump into Splitting the Bill. But this is where you can find us online at Jarrod D King, at love__eternal, and at Khalid Rivera on Instagram and Twitter. And not on Instagram for Mama Shay. Mama Shay is at bipolar biped, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there an underscore in there? I don't know. It's in the show notes.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think I have both of them in the show notes if you want to look below the screen, below the line there. So let's do our quick toast, everyone. That's another showdown.
Yeah.
Be careful what you say, because the boys and the girls will brunch. Take care.